Welcome back, everybody, to Your Little Castle Show. Mark Lawson, window expert. We are going to share with you some real excitement. You missed the first show, you missed a lot, but stay tuned. We got a lot more to share with you. Here we go. Giddy up. Welcome back, everybody, to Your Little Castle Show here in our beautiful studios in St. Louis, Missouri. Depending on where you're from, I grew up in Fenton. Sometimes we called it Missouri. There's no A on there, but hey, it was either way it was proper, and people knew what you were talking about. And wonderful city we have here in St. Louis, Missouri. We have had guests on from around the country that found out that said, "Hey, we want to come in and be on the show. If you enjoy what we're talking about here, look us up and we'll talk about it." Black Fox Cooper. Revamp your home with ease. The best windows. Andersen is your preferred brand. This is a brand that's been around since 1903.
Yes.
And an expert who's been doing it for a long time here. Also, give it up for our guest, Mark Lawson. All right, Mark. We covered a lot in that first half hour. If you missed that, go watch it on YouTube. Watch it when it airs on ABC. We're recording right now. We do 2 shows usually with our guests. Get a nice hour worth of content for them to share their expertise and help people. So we finished last show a little bit talking about the question I asked, and I love this question, is what's the biggest mistake people made? We might have covered a little bit in general, but if you could nail down one specific problem, you could even summarize that a little bit, give me kind of a scope. What's the biggest mistake people make when they're buying windows?
I think sometimes people try to view it as a commodity. They're not viewing it as something quality going into their home. So they're trying to look at, oh, I saw this at a big box store for this price. Why are you higher than this price? You know, and not understanding there is a difference. There is a quality issue that goes with that, you know. And I think, or people decide that I want to skinny it down and just give me the bare minimum and I want to put it in my house. And I think they regret that after they make that purchase. So I just tell people, you have a wish list, let's talk about your wish list that you want in your windows. What quality do you want to go in your home? And let's start from there. You know, because there are ways to save money by buying different styles of window. A picture window is going to cost less than a double hung window. And you may not need double hung windows everywhere in your home. So you're going to save money by doing that, which then maybe will allow you to upgrade to a casement window or a specialty window you have in your home. I have a specialty window in my house. I'll be honest with you. It's $5,500 for me to buy that one window before I even put that window in my house, you know. So I look at different options even there. But it's just the way the builder built the home, and it's a showcase window in the house. You know, do you want to cut corners when you do that, you know? And you shouldn't cut corners, you know?
Well, even if it's something, you got to think about the long-term value of that house, especially after you move to, a lot of people have the empty nest and they downgrade. Well, the next family, that's going to be a highlight for them.
Right.
Don't want to cut corners and save a few bucks if something happens or you got an efficiency issue. There's a lot you got to learn about these windows, especially with regard to efficiency.
Right.
I'm going to show everybody up on the wall here quickly, just kind of an overview that Mark pointed out to me. If you look at, these are what he specializes in, Andersen windows here, and we'll just start at the top, and if you want to describe, we'll go down the list here a little bit. I'm going to put this on the wall for everybody to take a look at, so they see the screen there now. And tell me a little bit. The first one here, an awning window. What is an awning window?
An awning window is a window that will have a latch on it that will open up, will close down, or it could tilt in. You know, that's an awning window. You might see that specialty, maybe like basement windows, you know, that people want. They don't want to put the glass block in there, but they do want a window that opens up. So it's kind of a niche window, goes in certain locations and certain styles of houses.
Okay, next one up, bay window.
Well, that would be, that's basically a lot of, back in the 70s, instead of framing out like a bay, they just bought a bay window and stuck it in there in a lot of houses, or like garden windows. That's a very specialty and niche window.
Okay, yeah, that's what a lot of times they have, that kind of wraps around a little bit, so you kind of walk into that.
Right, it's a one-piece window set. I mean, it is a unit that comes from Andersen.
Gotcha, all right, that's kind of unique too. All right, casement windows. You mentioned that a minute ago. Tell me about casement windows.
Well, casement window is basically a picture window that opens up. So it's a very energy efficient window, but it gives you that view Because right now you can see there's no line that goes across the middle where the latch is, like on a double hung window. And because you can crank it out, you're going to get a lot more air into the home, but you're also going to get that view looking into whatever you're looking into, your backyard. I'm getting ready to put in a couple casement windows right now in my home.
Okay, yeah, and I've seen those. I'll never forget. My grandma had those, and it would crank and it would wind open. But it's easier for some people because they're trying to lift windows up, and I guess people are elderly may.
It's easier to crank it out, and then when you crank it in, it's got a little latch that seals it shut and keeps the bugs out and makes it energy efficient.
Okay. Double hung, single hung. I didn't understand. I've heard that before. I guess that makes sense. Sorry everybody, I don't know everything, right? But double hung meaning there's two places that two separate parts are hung, so they both can be opened.
Right. So a single hung window, the top window is fixed, so it doesn't move. Only the bottom sash or the bottom window is going to lift up. That's your single hung. Double hung window, again, it's probably going to be your most common window that you see today, is the bottom and the top sash will move. So the top sash will come down and the bottom sash will go up. Makes it easier to clean windows.
Okay, that makes sense too. And it's a matter of when you're trying to open windows up, get them in there, and then you can just wipe them down.
Tilt them in and all that, yes.
Okay, good, because a lot of people that are on the second or third floor, those are tough to clean. Otherwise,
yeah, unless you hire a window cleaning company.
Right. That adds up too. All kinds of considerations here. Gliding windows. What is a gliding window?
Basically, it is you have a fixed window and you have a movable window. You may see a lot of this over like a kitchen sink where you could grab over. Most of the time you can't reach over a kitchen sink and lift the single hung or a double hung window up. So a gliding window allows you to unlatch it and just move it to the right or the left, whatever position it is, to allow fresh air to come in the house. So that's where you see a lot of your gliding windows at. Some people put them in the garage too because you can get them in bigger sizes and it's a lot easier to move the glass. You don't need to be a very strong person to do it.
Yeah, it slides back and forth instead of lifting. It's kind of like your sliding glass door, except
right, just smaller, more
format.
condensed, yeah.
Window format. Pass-through window. Tell me what that means. What's passing through? Lights passing through, but what else are you talking about?
Well, this would be a window. Let's just say you've got a big pool in your backyard or an entertainment area. This could be a window that would open up. It could be like a bifold window, or it could be a different style of window where maybe it cranks up. This allows you to interact with your guest in the backyard. Maybe you're serving drinks, you're passing stuff through the window, you're letting a lot more air come into the house. So there's really no screen there. It's more, opening up to your patio area in the backyard of your home.
Gotcha. And it is an openable window that allows you to pass through. I gotcha. Picture windows. Is this pretty standard? What are we talking about? We're talking about a picture window.
Well, you're going to see, probably the most common way you're going to see a picture window is a transom window in an older home. You see a door, and above it you see a bunch of fixed windows. That's basically a picture window. So basically, it's a fixed piece of glass that's in a frame. It doesn't open. So once it's in there, it is a window that cannot be opened. You don't need a screen on it. Those kind of go in certain areas of your home where you want more light to come through.
Gotcha. That's your picture windows. Okay. And then finally, specialty windows. Pretty cool design here. I see that they put up on the website, but get custom made almost like
anything. If you wanted a Cardinal window, we could probably design you a Cardinal window to go in your house.
Cardinal Cowboy way. Put the hat on early here, everybody. Yeah. I've had all kinds of. We've got a Cardinal Cowboy coin here, by the way, everybody. We'll talk about that in a minute. If I can get a Cardinal Cowboy logo, will they color the glass too? And
yeah, you can get any type of window made. I mean, there's always a limitation to anything, but this would be half circles, trapezoids. You want Art Deco to go in the middle of it. We can design it through Anderson.
Yeah, well, when you've got a company like this, the innovation is going to be there because they've been doing this for so long, and that's why we also then want to bring in an expert to talk about that here on our show. So that kind of covers with regard. Now, is this commercial or residential only, or what is it that people can get these for? I guess mostly residential, but you do some commercial stuff?
Yeah, we do some commercial. We've actually had people call us that doing restaurants that need glass. We can do that with the E-Series. They're looking for picture windows that go like on the second floor of their restaurant or maybe on the main floor. So these windows can be classified for commercial use. We also do historic homes. So if you have historic requirements, we do have historic that meets all the historical requirements for many of the municipalities in the St. Louis area.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Because once a house is designated as historical, they can't do anything to diminish the history of that
Right.
of that property.
So you have to get everything approved, and we have the Anderson E Series, which is approved in the city of St. Louis and a lot of other locations throughout the area.
Interesting. Yeah. Smart there. Everybody keep the value of those properties up by replacing them with high quality windows like they had when they originally built these homes. So we've got some great homes here in St. Louis too.
Oh yeah.
That are antique, old, and beautiful.
I've worked on many of them in the Central West End. They're,
Central West End is probably where you get most of those.
It gets a little hard carrying windows up 3 flights of stairs. After a while you realize, I didn't realize how hard this was going to be.
Well, that's a guy like you that's strong and can handle something like that. Mark Lawson, everybody. All right. Tell me the time when you've been doing this for a long time, but give me a couple examples where you knew somebody was in a tough situation and they just needed some help. You talked about somebody younger prior you were talking about?
Yeah, I had a couple that had a house in the historic part of the city of St. Louis, and they had to buy the E-Series window, but they had a very limited budget. So I looked at the budget, I looked at the windows, and I basically boiled down and says, I can help you out. Let's do this, and we'll fit your budget. Here's what we're going to have to do this. So they were very upfront. They liked the idea. They had to do some basically sweat equity when I got done, but they were very happy with the windows at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's how you do things to help the community. Because ultimately we're all one little. The world seems so much smaller these days. Because
right.
We all get to know each other much more quickly with all the social media and everything that goes on there. Which leads me to the next question here we'll talk about right before our break here. But if you are interested in learning about how to magnetize your media, you might want to pick up this book, everybody. Magnetize Media, the foreword written by yours truly, the Cardinal Cowboy, #1 seller on Amazon. And it gives you all kinds of great tips about how you should build your media, because if you're not building your media, there's that goofy picture of me, look at that guy. But this will help you to do so. How has technology changed in general? If you want to talk specifically about window technology, or how has the internet changed the way people do things now? Because literally, like you were talking about, when people go see a picture on a website, that's one way to view what you're talking about.
Right.
But it doesn't really do true justice for what they're getting. They're going to spend their a lot of hard-earned money on, and that's where one window may look like the other, but they're not.
Right. Well, that's where you have to kind of do your homework a little bit. You have to understand what you're buying. So some companies are going to come in and they're going to sell you something, but what are you really buying at the end of the day? Do you know the manufacturer? Where are they manufactured out of? Are they going to be here in 5 or 10 years, to service that window? Or does that company have to come back and rip out that window and put a new window in for you to meet, because that window company's no longer in business, or they're not doing business with them today anymore?
Well, back to then, with a name like Anderson, whether when you win the lottery or retire 10 or 15 years from now, whatever it may be, Mark, maybe 30 years. Mark might work till he's 60. I think he's about 30 right now, in that ballpark. But a guy like yourself, but what you're saying is Anderson and the quality you offer there, they're going to be around for a long time.
Right.
And Anderson will stand by their name.
Yeah, and Anderson doesn't really change their manufacturing process. So the window that you buy today, I can guarantee you I could probably replace that window in 20 years from today and it'll look the same. I'm doing that currently with a lot of storm damage customers in the St. Louis area, that they're getting the same quality. They don't have to replace all their windows in the house. They're actually getting a replacement window that looks like it's the original window, but it's updated to current energy efficiencies today. So they don't change their styles that much. Manufacturing, they're probably getting some new vacuum formers, and they're able to maybe cut wood more efficiently than they did before. But their process is the same. They don't change their paint colors. Their paint will always be the same. So I've told customers today, and I'll stand behind it, you know what, you got 30 windows in your house, they can only afford 15. We'll put 15 windows in. I know in 2 or 3 years when they come back to me, the new windows, the other windows I put in will match the windows they have installed currently.
There you go. If you think about that, I was talking to Mark about that prior, when we talk about the auto world, right? You buy this particular style of car, I'm not going to name any manufacturers, but we know what happens. 2 years later, it's a totally different model.
Right.
And now you look like you've got the car that's so much older. Mm-hmm. Versus some manufacturers build a model and they don't change it for 7 or 8 years.
Right.
But in the window world, what you're talking about, again, you've got so much that doesn't have to change. But why would they change these little latches or the colors or whatever it is? Boy, you've seen these houses. We've seen them where they look goofy because they've got one set of windows over here and another set of windows over there, and it looks like somebody just didn't have enough money.
Right.
Or something happened at a totally different time in the past, and they couldn't match it. But
Well, yeah. Well, there was
that's not an issue.
in the Midwest here, Anderson had a window line called the narrow line window. For some reason, it was the hottest seller in the Midwest. Probably the distributor that was selling them was probably just doing a low markup, so every builder was putting them in their houses. You know, all the way from like 1980 up until about 2011 when they stopped making the line. And I can go into those homes today and I can replace the glass, the frame, and the ballast in them and give you a brand new window in your home at a third of the cost of replacing all the windows in your house. So if you have Anderson windows today in your home that are 20 years or older, should give me a call because we can start upgrading those windows piecemeal, where maybe you do, if you got 20 windows, we could do 5 now, 5 down the road, and it's a lot easier to budget that over time. You don't have to take out a loan. We offer financing. We've got those deals. But if you don't have to borrow money and you could fix your windows and make your house energy efficient, it's well worth it at the end of the day.
And maintaining that high quality.
Yes.
So many people, they say, oh, I'm going to just get new windows, but I'm going to put the cheap ones in there, and they're really costing themselves.
Well, and they're going to lose.
Whether they're reselling it or
Right.
they're going to keep that house.
I've seen some people, you know, they got $1 million homes, they've got Anderson windows that are damaged by the storm, and there's a contractor and they're saying, hey, you need to buy these vinyl windows, and it's like, it's not going to be the same at the end of the day. You're not going to be happy. You may save some money, but you're not going to be happy at the end of the day.
Saving money, but not being happy. All right, everybody, we're going to take a quick break. We'll stay tuned for more. We'll be back here in just a minute. Check out some fun with stuff we're doing in the community and a little bit of our excitement. Hey everybody, guess what? We get to have fun all the time at the Cardinal games. Before the game, we get to hang out with fun super fans. Say hello to my buddy Nino over here, Brett, Tanya, and Dixie. That's right. Everybody's in the video here. Family coming out to the game. Nino, what do you love about going to Cardinal games?
You love baseball?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He loves baseball. Hey, all right. Scoring points with the Cardinal Cowboy.
Yeah, he plays Miracle League baseball.
Do you
He
really?
and he likes to be on the Cardinals team at home.
Yeah.
Wow, Nino, how many times have you been on that team? How many times have you done that?
A lot.
A lot.
That's a good answer. All right. Dad, what's it like coming to the Cardinal games with your son and your wife and all the fun you get to have down here?
Oh, it's the most fun. I mean, we've been coming since Old Bush. You know, now we've got New Bush Stadium. It's the best baseball town, and it's the most fun. You know, it's fun before the game. The games are always great, and we love it.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking time here. We're at Patios, everybody. This is where the most fun is. I get to wear the full outfit here. I got the pants, the socks, the arch, Nino, Brett, Tanya, and Dixie all here, and we're outside Patios having fun. Hey, say hi to Patios. Stop on by here before a Cardinal game, and we'll see you guys soon. Nino, give me some knuckles. There we go. Go Cardinals. Giddy up.
His name is Carter Rethwich, but in St. Louis, he's known as the Cardinal Cowboy. He's a well-known fixture in the stands at sporting events in the Gateway City. He's one of its greatest cheerleaders, a super fan like no other. When he makes his rounds at almost every home game, he shares his love for sports with the rest of fandom with a smile, a cheer, some positive encouragement, and lots and lots of selfies and pics. But the Cardinal Cowboy was born of a tragic incident. Rethwich was an aspiring athlete in high school and college. He dreamed of playing in the big leagues, but those dreams ended when he and 3 of his college friends were hit with a devastating crash by a 5-time drunk driver. One of his best friends died. Carter suffered a critical head injury. The trauma put him in a coma for 6 days. The doctors said he was never expected to function again. Those expectations never came true. He fought back and finished college. He was determined to prove the doctors wrong. Among other inspirations, it was his love of baseball that kept him going. And from his near-death experience, the Cardinal Cowboy emerged. His goal in life became to inspire others with positivity despite the odds. to help people believe in themselves and achieve their dreams.
So after my coma, I realized that it was up to me if I was going to accomplish my goals, if I was going to reach my dreams. Despite what the naysayers would say, the people that were discouraging me, like they do everyone, it's up to me if I'm going to make it. Don't listen to the naysayers. It's up to you. You decide whether you're going to succeed, whether you're going to reach your goals. Dream, and then always, always chase your dreams. Never give up. Giddy up. Hey everybody, Cardinal Cowboy here. I want to invite all of you to be part of my new team. No, you don't have to put on a baseball uniform and be a super fan. Now, it would be a good idea to cheer for the Cardinals, the greatest team in the history of the National League. But I'm talking about the Gold Cowboy team. You know, I love to help people follow their dreams and reach their goals in business and in life. So that's one of the reasons why I'm telling you about my friends at My Metal Pro. They help people like you and I acquire gold and silver with a membership that lets you safely buy, sell, and store gold and silver. They make it real easy to get started. My Metal Pro isn't like the big guys you see on network TV or the big coin shops that take a huge commission. So become part of my Gold Cowboy team. Scan the QR code or go to goldcowboy.com and check it out. Giddy up!
And all those years, you know, I was buying silver back then, and I stopped buying it, you know, at $9 an ounce, you know, what is it, $42 or $50 an ounce today?
Yeah. No, we're just talking about that little commercial that you saw there, everybody. But literally, like, oh boy, if you don't want to learn about gold, then you're just missing out. I didn't want to learn about it. Stocks, mutual funds, check it out there. Go over to our friends. Go to Gold Cowboy, goldcowboy.com. Find out more there. All right, let's finish up here, Mark. We've got a lot more information to talk about here because I want people to understand. Number one, as we get going, finishing up here, how do people get started with you? They say, obviously, Mark knows his stuff. What's the process for somebody if they want to work with you?
They can go to the website and fill out a contact form. We give them a call back, and we schedule an in-home estimate. We usually do some qualifying questions over the phone, more or less, like how many windows do you have? What style of windows do you have today? It kind of helps out a little bit before we get there. The more information the homeowner gives us before we get there helps us out to get all the information we can give to the customer. And so most of our on-site estimates last maybe an hour, hour and a half, and most of that time, to be truthful, is measuring the windows in the home. You know, so we spend more time walking, looking at the windows. Once I get it entered into the system, it's real easy for me to give them a quote for all styles of windows that they're looking for today and pricing. And then they can decide what they want to do from there. We offer financing. You know, we break things up where maybe you can buy 4 or 5 windows or a couple windows at a time. We're real easy to work with. There's no pressure.
There you go. Well, we had our air conditioners kicking in there, everybody. We said, hey, let's turn those off for a minute while we're talking. But we could do some noise reduction if necessary. But hopefully you got the point there that Mark obviously can take care of you from all sides, especially that financing piece becomes important because a lot of people, it is an expensive investment, but it's worth it. And that's what I'm all about, talking about investments. We talked about gold and coins and all that stuff. Very important for those kinds of things. But your home is usually the most valuable asset anyone owns. And why would you take anything less than high quality? Because that may be the single thing at the end of your time, towards the end of your life on this little planet. You say, hey man, I'm downsizing. I got that as the biggest asset. It's worth $500,000. It's worth, who knows, a house that was originally worth $10,000 in 1950, now worth $250,000, right? It's gotten crazy. Make sure you replace them with.
And you want to be comfortable in your home. You want the quality of life. You know, when you turn on your air conditioner, turn on your heater, you want your house to stay cool or hot depending on the time of year it is. Your windows are going to help you do that.
There you go. And yes, all kinds of ways to look at the value. I didn't realize, by pumping your heater and air conditioning more often because you don't have the more efficient windows, you're really wearing out systems.
Right.
I'm about to replace the air conditioners in my home, and it's going to be a $20,000 tab at least, just for the AC and heater that goes with that. So don't wear those things out. Get better quality things around it to make the installation.
We changed we bought new furnace and air conditioning a couple years ago. We've upgraded the windows, but I just got the old-fashioned thermostat in there now. You have to go over and change the temperature. We don't have to adjust anymore. So that makes a big difference. You know, I don't play with it like I used to. You know, the house is staying at a constant temperature all the time now.
Because you've got it sealed properly with high-quality windows.
Correct.
Well, you learn a lot here, everybody. Very important to understand these things. Well, what is the biggest challenge you have to overcome many times when it's explaining to people the process, or they have lesser quality windows in the past and they're like, why would I need? What's the biggest question people have for you often when they're?
I think sometimes people fall in love with a style of window, or maybe a particular, I got to have this, and they're not opening to listening. You know, I think sometimes people feel they're being pressured into buy something, but if you can explain your side of it a little bit more and people listen to you, I usually win people over. So that's the biggest challenge I face, is getting people just to listen and understand, you know, why they should look at a different style of window, or why they should spend maybe 5% or 10% more than what they're looking at to get what they want.
I'm going to second that one. How often is it that people are getting scammed? They're being lied to, manipulated, cost, when they don't look at the overall value, which ends up costing a lot more. That's what we emphasize. Cheap can be very expensive, but I can tell you all day long, as a marketing guy, people get told all kinds of bogus things that don't work, and then they wonder 5 years later, man, if I'd have just listened to you, Cowboy, 5 years ago, I'd be in business now still, or we'd have saved lots of money. And it applies to anything you buy, but especially with getting high quality and an expert that can explain it.
Right.
So that's what you're bringing that to the table for everybody.
Right.
An expert that knows what they're doing and high quality.
And prior to this, I did IT sales consulting. And you know where I made most of my money at when I did IT sales consulting is I listened to my customer, I understood the problems they were having, and I found a solution to fix that problem that was affordable, and they bought it. I made more money doing that than anything else I ever did. And I try to do that with Windows. Listen to the customer, deliver what they want, and they will buy from you at the end of the day.
That's what we need, everybody. Somebody who just will take the time to listen. That's why they say that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? So listen more often and let people explain how they, their problems, so that you can come up with that solution. All right, what gives you the most satisfaction about what you're doing these days? Now, you've been doing this for 10 years. What do you love most about it?
I think the excitement of when you come up with a new window design and you're changing somebody's home, and they're very hesitant up front to do it, and after you put it in, they're like, wow, that was a night and day difference. That to me gives me all the satisfaction in the world, that they've got that, or that they can go by a window. I had a gentleman that had 100-year-old windows in his house, and he goes, Mark, I can walk by the window now and I don't freeze during the winter time, So, you're helping people achieve what they've done, and they know they put it off. They know they needed to do this. They just procrastinated is probably the best thing to say. And they did it, and now they're happy at the end of the day. That's what gives me the joy when I do the windows with my customers today.
And they don't really realize, because I'm one of those guys too. I was like, what do I need windows? I got the vinyl ones. They've lasted for a long time. They're in pretty good shape. But they're literally costing you money because they're so inefficient.
Right.
And you're spending a lot more on heating and cooling, and then wearing out your air conditioner along the way because of that.
Right. And the more glass you got, the less it's going to hold that, the glass is going to stay in a vinyl window. So if you've got bigger windows in your home, you're probably going to have to replace that window sooner.
All right, everybody, stay tuned for more. This is your Little Castle Show. Thank you, Mark. Giddy up.